All right, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, March the 1st, March the 1st, as they say, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing?
How are you on this fine first day of March?
About the same as I was on the last day of February.
Just 24 hours later.
Well,
ish.
Now, depending on when somebody asked me that question, yes.
Right. Well, exactly. Well, as you were last night, but good. That's very good. Very good. Pete, yourself? How are you?
Good. We had a little snow day before yesterday, but as it usually does, it got warm and then it's practically all melted away.
Yeah, we had none down here. So
yeah, most of it was north of us, and it's funny. It was heavy and wet. I went out and cleaned off the cars yesterday morning, and that was about it. Just drove over. I heard like one guy down the street with a snowblower. It's like it was, I don't know, 3 inches of snow.
Right.
That got rained on. Like this, you don't need that.
You don't need to do
that. Just drive over it. There's no,
Right.
But I will say that my theory, and I've had this theory for years, my street, the plows, I drove around the neighborhood and around some nearby neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. For some reason, they never cut to the curb on our street.
Really?
Now, usually, it's funny because usually there's a lot of cars out on the road.
Sure.
You don't have really big driveways, so people have more cars. So a lot of people park a car on the street, which is a pain because they, have to go around it. But was it Monday? Monday. So Monday night when I came home from work and the snow was coming down, but it wasn't quite sticking yet. And like I noticed most of the people, I was going to just park in the street, but most of the people in the neighborhood for once put their cars in their driveway. So I was like, well, I don't want to be the
one guy that doesn't.
Right. So I put and it didn't matter. They didn't cut to the curb anyway, just down the middle of the
middle street, done. That's it. Right.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't an issue because, again, there wasn't much snow and you could just drive over it. Even in my Honda Civic, which is, more than about 5 inches of snow, and it becomes a snowplow itself because the front is so low to the ground. But
right.
I'm like, dude, could you just, and I drove around the rest of the neighborhood. They're all cut. No, not this street.
Not your street.
Somebody must have done something to whoever plows it. I don't know. It was annoying. I wouldn't
have minded. Does cut mean plowed? Is that what the
yeah? They don't. In other words, they don't plow next to the curb.
They cut into the curb. They just
that's about 4 or 5 feet of snow, which is pushed from this. So I'm like, and they never. Now again, it wasn't a big deal now, but when you have like 6, you get a big storm, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. Well, that's where it gets plowed out of the middle of the street and it builds up and gets too deep. You can't pull your car into it or out of it. So whatever. But my theory was proven that even with a little bit of snow, whether it's a lot or a little, they don't cut to the curb.
They don't. Well, I wish that actually happened to me really quick years ago. My house I had that year, well, not that year, at that time, snowed, bad snowstorm. I mean, like probably had over a foot. And I'm out there for hours, right? Shoveling the sidewalk up to the walkway, the driveway out. And we had a two-car wide driveway. It took me, that was the biggest part, right? The driveway, the apron of the driveway out into the street to open it up to the street with all the snow that the plows had pushed up on the curb. That was the biggest part, right? Get it all done. Hours. Finally, literally the last shovel, I scoop and I'm about to be done throwing it. And I'm going to walk inside. I'm done, right? And I hear a noise and I turn around. Here comes the plow. All right. And it's a guy I know. All right. And he comes right by and he's laughing and waving and plows everything that I just shoveled out right back over the driveway. I threw my shovel at his truck and went in the house. So, anyway.
Well, yeah. That's to be expected, I guess.
Exactly. So anyway, on another note, I had gone down to North Carolina last week, and when I was on my way down, it was actually while driving down there last Thursday. I actually drove. I was in 85-degree weather. It was ridiculous. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and 3 days later, it
happens
snowed
when you
here.
go closer to the equator.
It wasn't that much closer. It was North Carolina.
It's always warmer in North Carolina than it is in wherever the fuck it is you live now.
Same state you grew up in.
South Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm going down there next week. So
to North Carolina or to South Jersey?
North Carolina. I'm going to probably go over. Maybe
that's why people from where you live move to North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah, December, January is prime golf season
because it's warmer.
Yep.
And
there you go.
I don't know. There's golf courses and more Republicans or something. I don't know. I don't know what the draw is, but
not sure what it is. But the bottom line is actually came back and yesterday got back late last night, but yesterday spent the day in Washington actually, walking around Washington. Before we went into town. Has stopped by, as I do. I stop by baseball and football stadiums always, right? And went by, first time I had ever seen it, went by, FedEx Field, right? Where the Commanders, if you will, play.
Right. That's a miserable area.
Oh my God, this stadium sucks.
Yeah, it's also like worse. It makes the area around Giant Stadium seem walkable, you know what? And friendly.
I got to be honest with you. The area right around it really wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I mean, the area around RFK Stadium in Washington.
Yeah, maybe that's what I mean.
That's not. Yeah, you don't want to walk around there. But the area, it's in Landover, Maryland. It's not even in DC. Right? It's fine where it is. But the stadium itself. I mean, I meant to look. I'll look in a little bit, but when we talk about NFL in a minute. But that stadium, there's the construction, it's rusty. How old is the stadium's only like 12, 15 years old, right? It's not really that old. 20 years, maybe tops. I think it's less than that. How old is FedEx Field?
I don't know. And I don't really care.
I don't either, really, but are you checking, Pete? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I was gonna check. So it wasn't a place you wanted to hang out.
It was not. It
grab
was
some dinner and.
Well, they did. Fanatics.
It was closed. Number one. That's
it was closed. Well, no, actually, it wasn't. It was. The stadium was open, but nobody's there. Stadium was open.
You could actually get in the stadium.
We walked in the stadium. Went in the gift shop.
How do you think it got the way it is?
Okay, you didn't get onto the field. Though.
Oh no, the field. No. And Fanatics Fanatics now apparently has a sports book. Right, Fanatics has their own sports book. Fanatics, all the gear and everything. It's like this is from Fanatics. This is from Fanatics. They make all the players and merch and everything else, right? But they have their own sports book, and they had that, and that was a restaurant, and they have a restaurant with the sports book, and that's open too. So
Sounds
anyway,
miserable. I bet if Jeff Bezos buys the Commanders, he can order a new stadium and have it installed in a day.
It would probably be just flight over with drones and just drop down over the old stadium.
Just one guy wheeling it in.
So they broke ground on FedEx in 1996.
96
March of 96. So it was either finished sometime in 96 or 97.
So
it's 25 years old. 25 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
It looks honestly
seem that old.
No, it's not, but it looks like it's probably 50 years old, 40, 50 years old.
But also part of that, I mean, is it's part of new stadiums is the way they're built, right? The technology behind it, but a lot of it is the glitz, right?
Right.
They just didn't build what was the craziest, glitziest stadium 25 years ago? I don't know. Whatever it was, though, it looks like a piece of shit compared to the ones they're building now, right?
Right. Well, there was also a trend in baseball stadiums to try to build them in downtown areas, in areas that could be revitalized, pedestrian areas, things like that. Football stadiums once a week, every other week, or twice a month, whatever the case might be. Games typically are usually not in areas of where people gather, and there's some well or interestingly designed stadiums now.
True,
but most of them, for the vast majority of time, have not been all that interesting. Even the domes and things like that, there was never as much thought put into basketball arenas and football stadiums as there was into baseball stadiums. And that's I think for one reason, really, is that baseball is a different experience. And it's just, it is what it is.
Right.
A lot of the bad ones are kind of, in that mid-Atlantic and northeastern corridor. They're not great.
They're not. They're really not. I just pulled up a picture. Here you go. I'll throw it up really quick. There it is. And what do you think of this right there?
It looks like a lot of other stadiums, and
that's what I mean. I mean, it was functional, and it's whatever. I mean, it's again, by comparison, you go, oh boys, what a dump. Right. But I mean, I'm sure it was contemporary at the time, and again, the idea wasn't shiny with walls that change color or have video screens on them or whatever. It was just, we're going to build this thing. We want it to last. It was
for what it was at the time. But if you look now, I'm not going to, you can't zoom in here, but if you're looking at the picture, right? If you look at the white, I-beams going up there and the top of the design at the top of the stadium there, if you look closely at them, if you were to zoom in on it or whatever, they're all the joints, everything's rusted.
Yeah.
To paint it. Paint it.
Well, this is from the purple lot, which is a notoriously bad angle for football.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You find me a good shot of any football stadium taken from the purple lot. And
forget about it.
Yeah, there's nothing sadder than driving into an empty football stadium area on a Tuesday or whatever it was, and it's so sad.
I know. I will tell you this though. The National Stadium went by there. It's about down in Navy Yard in Washington. Beautiful stadium, really, really nice. A beautiful location. The buildings around it. I mean, there's nightlife around it too. It's a really cool area. It's really good.
You can understand the difference between baseball stadiums and football stadiums by just listening to George Carlin's classic bit about baseball and football and the difference,
right?
And the fans. And it's a different experience. What inning is it? I don't know. It's the third inning. I'm gonna go walk around. Whereas football, I'm there 5 hours beforehand, eating fucking nitrates and beating up my spouse. Come on, it's a war. Different crowd.
Well, yeah, I'd say so, based on that one.
One has to be in a shitty, parking lot industrial area, and the other ones are usually in a downtown area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where you can walk to after eating dinner.
That's true. I will say though, and I've said this before on the show, the probably the coolest area is Pittsburgh. The two stadiums, the formerly Heinz Field, Acrisure now, and PNC Park is just beautiful for baseball. And they're right next to each other, but like 5 blocks away from each other. They share the parking lots, and it's really cool. But anyway,
you know who's apparently not a fan of FedEx Field?
Dan Snyder.
Not now. Apparently, the DC United is not a fan of FedEx Field because they elected to stay at RFK when they built the new one. Then in 2018, I guess that was not an option anymore, so they began playing at Audi Field, which is in the city, which is smart because it's hard enough to get people to go to a soccer game, let alone outside the city. So
and a lot of cities have started to build dedicated soccer fields.
So that one is, I believe, if I read what I read yesterday and saw what I saw yesterday, it's not too far away from where National Park is. But we walked up from there. We actually parked down there and walked into the city. We walked up. It's only like a mile south of the Capitol. So we walked up to the Capitol and walked around.
How about the DC lacrosse team? Where did they play?
Lacrosse plays right in the mall, right? Okay. Right in front of all the museums.
Field has the DC United of Major League Soccer, the Washington Spirit of the National Women's Soccer League, as well as the DC Defenders of the XFL.
There you go.
They would all rather play there. Well, I guess none of those teams are selling out.
Not so much.
20,000 people at Audi Field.
I just want to mention
they're not selling out Audi Field, so they're certainly not selling out FedEx.
Just want to mention something to our audience. This was today was going to be an attempt at keeping our podcast brief.
We're still under the 15
minutes. We're good,
and we're out of the gate with weather, snow removal, and RFK Stadium.
Well, let me tell you something. You just pushed us over the 15-minute mark for 20 seconds or so. No, I'm kidding.
About 3 seconds.
3 seconds. There we go. All right, so here we are. 15 minutes. Here we go. Let's chat. Let's bring up something that's probably not too savory. But let's talk about what's going on down south in Alabama and Georgia, respectively. Harry, you brought the Alabama thing in our pre-show to notes-wise. Start us off.
Well, look, we have two things. Obviously, towards the end of last week, beginning of this week, it was Brandon Miller, the star basketball player for Alabama, who, according to reports, his car was used to deliver a gun that wound up killing somebody. He's obviously pleaded that he wasn't involved and that he was in no way responsible for this. But I think the tone deafness of it by both the school and by him, I mean, it was bad enough that he didn't even sit a game. Whether somebody died the next day, he actually had his career high in scoring. And then 2 games later, he's coming out during warmups and having a teammate pretend to pat him down as if he doesn't have a gun. I mean, the tone deafness of this from both him, Alabama, and the NCAA is horrific. And then today, you wake up and you find out one of the top NFL prospects, a defensive lineman from Georgia, has changed his story and was involved directly or indirectly in a homicide in an automobile accident, which I believe killed 2 people.
Two people, yeah.
And he's finally now, it sounds like, admitted to or has been charged with racing and driving, erratically. And, again, I'm not trying to convict any of these two. It
was literally hours after the national championship.
Right. And we've just found out about it. I mean, I just found out about it.
Yeah. 2:30 in the morning, out racing.
I mean, his name has come up a lot because, there's teams like the Bears and others who he's very high on their list. They're saying, hey, can we, where is he going to go? Some people are projecting maybe as high as number 1. Same thing with Brandon Miller. I mean, some people are saying he might be the first pick of the NBA draft. Mm-hmm. And I'm not passing judgment without understanding everything on these two. But it's really amazing how far the NCAA has gone in their inability to kind of control the messaging that's coming out on both of these things. And to at least take the players that are involved, not literally the players, but coaches, teams, ownership, college presidents, and have some sense of decorum and humanity towards all of this. I mean, the blatant sort of, hey, he's going to play, we don't care, and then coming out and having your teammate pat you down as an FU. All right, we understand. You're probably a little pissed because people are accusing you of being involved in something, which you were. But somebody's dead. The question is will this change anything? Will any NBA team, NBA owner, or NFL team, will they even give a shit about the personality and what these 2 guys are displaying in wake of these tragedies? The answer is probably no. But I'll tell you what, I'm not picking either of them.
No, it's a shame when things and again, a court of law is gonna, either find them guilty, innocent, whatever. And it's not for us to decide that on the show, but time will tell with both of those things. And if the proper procedures are taken, the proper measures are taken, hopefully whatever the truth is will come out, and whatever punishment, if any, is necessary will be levied. But it's a shame, just in general speaking, not specifically speaking of either of those, because again, we don't know, innocent until proven guilty, but as far as involvement goes. But it's a shame when things do get covered up like that and just like brushed aside, like you're saying. I'm agreeing with you. It's just it's the
lack of any remorse at all. It's this weird, and look, this is not something that only happens with professional athletes or collegiate athletes. It's the lack of remorse or the inability to see the larger picture here is I mean, Miller's actions spoke to it all, and the statement released by Carter, what's his name?
Carter.
Jalen Carter. you know, it was all about his innocence. And to the best of my knowledge, there was no mention of the people who died, or at least a modicum of remorse or condolences to those in their family. I having listened to the Alabama head coach, having now, you know, seen the actions of Alabama and the way in which they've handled this, I can't imagine even 5, 6, 7 years ago this occurring in the NCAA and the message not being handled better and the decorum of the players not being better. It seems excessive and really, really, really dismissive of the whole thing. And it's disgusting.
All right, here's the in the case of Carter, we now have some charges filed. But I agree with you. This look, you don't know what someone's feeling underneath, and maybe he's putting on a brave face or whatever. But this is a teammate of his that was killed.
Yeah, and other people.
And someone in the
and a trainer or coach.
Yeah, recruiting analyst. And the recruiting analyst was driving the other car.
Right. Within the organization. Okay. A teammate of his. They were racing. I guess the guy that was driving blew like a 0.19 or didn't blow.
He was intoxicated. Yeah.
He was intoxicated. No mention of whether Carter was drinking. I don't even know if he was tested. A lot of details yet.
He fled the scene.
To be revealed.
He fled the scene.
Right. Fled the scene and then lied to the cops about what happened there. So the stupidity of a young guy racing his car, you know, that's kids do stupid things.
Absolutely.
The trainer or the recruiting guy was
24.
24. So you're talking about young kids.
They were all kids.
Right.
They were
all kids doing something stupid.
Right.
But it ended in tragedy.
Yeah.
And that's, again, we don't know what he's feeling, but he's certainly, that should be
right.
And I guess they were scheduled to speak at the combine. Carter is at the combine, of course.
Of course.
And in both of these cases, there's this, before these charges were brought, well, they didn't do anything illegal. So there's tone deafness all around. And again, I who knows what Jalen, I mean, I can't believe Jalen Carter isn't feeling terrible about this.
They might both be feeling terrible.
You're a psychopath if you don't.
Be. And
but they should be.
I'm asking is to express that.
Right. Yes.
And have a sense of decency and common sense to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should sit one game. Maybe I should go contact the
right.
the family
Maybe
of the girl who
go to
died.
the combine.
Right.
And deal with that situation. Now,
and I certainly shouldn't give the finger to everyone by having myself patted down during pregame warmups.
Well, in the case of Miller, what's really distressing to me is all the way up the chain, or as we so often find out, it starts at the top and down, trickles down.
Yeah, well put.
Absolute horrendous, insensitive, tone deaf is not strong enough word, disgusting handling of this by the university personnel, by Nate Oates, the coach.
He took
fired.
He took blame for the
he should be fired.
The whole pat down incident thing and the
whole pat down. Yeah, take blame after the fact. You should have said to your players, we don't do anything about this. This is not funny. We don't make a joke of it. Nobody says nothing to anyone. Now, maybe he did that, and whoever the guy was that patted down, and apparently they didn't tell it wasn't planned. And as far as they told the coach or whatever, but he should have had those guys on lockdown with anything regarding this, and he should be summarily dismissed because of his lack of control.
I agree.
But again, all the way up or all the way down from the university personnel go, hey, he didn't fire the gun. It was in his car, or again, the story's developing. I don't think he went and got it and then drove it someplace and gave it to somebody else, but his car was used and he was involved somehow. The tone deafness and this, hey, he didn't do it himself. He didn't shoot nobody.
Nobody's accusing him of that.
Right. No. But I mean, that was kind of their
right
excuse for letting him play. Well, he didn't really do it, and let's let the jury decide. Rather than saying he was somehow involved in an incident, we need an investigation in this. We're going to take him out of the mix until then. But he's too important to the team.
Right.
If he were some scrub,
he would have totally been out. He would have totally sitting out. Absolutely. He wouldn't have even. He wouldn't have even been suited up.
He wouldn't. Right. He wouldn't even be at the.
You're absolutely right. All I was looking for in both situations was a statement, even if it wasn't even if it was a prepared statement, by both players. Number one, to the best of my knowledge, there has never been a statement by Miller. Now, for Carter, there was. I don't think so. I heard it today, and so there was neither of them have addressed the bigger issue here that people died. Yeah, that's all I'm asking for.
Right, but again, my point. Miller has example after example after example of the wrong way to handle it.
Right.
And again, not trying to excuse him, but I think that speaks to, well, again, I don't want to say it speaks to his character because, again, he might have all along been saying, I think I should go out and say something. I feel horrible about this. And the university and the coach and the people, the powers that be go, no. Just, you didn't really do anything. You didn't shoot anybody, so just and keep playing.
And I can buy that because the university. Oh, no, I'm not saying it did happen, but
I can buy that until his actions yesterday.
Right. Yeah. Right. But yesterday, whoever's idea it was, whether it was his, whether it was friends, I assume it's one of those two guys or somebody else on the team who goes, hey, you know what you should do? I mean, this was not.
The tone deafness.
If you remember, there was one moment when LeBron James, before he went into the NBA in his final high school season, and his mom was under investigation, right? Recruiters maybe bought her a car, or they did buy her a car, or whatever it was, and he had a little Hummer, remote control Hummer. He was driving around on the court pregame, making fun of the situation, which wasn't, again, not comparing the two. But you're right. Until yesterday, Miller, whoever's idea it was, should have said, you know what? If he has a conscience about this or has any sense, or again, had gotten any sort of guidance or example from any of those people, should have said, no, I don't think so. Yeah. Or whoever was patting him down, you would think
that's exactly
moron would have said, I don't think that's a good idea if it was Miller's idea.
Exactly.
Nobody thought enough of this to quash it.
Yeah. Everybody was scared to step up and do the right thing. The coaches, the administration, the NCAA. I mean, in Miller's case, in Carter's case, it was like, hey, maybe this won't get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he can get through the combine and we can get to the draft without this coming out. Which maybe his lawyers told him not to address it. That's fine. And I'm not actually, I don't know that, a prepared statement is a prepared statement and it's going to be done through a lawyer. But the lack of empathy and sympathy for this is just mind-boggling.
And accountability.
Yeah.
The lack of accountability, which, of course, you're going to hear that from everybody else. No. You can't. Don't say anything about this. You don't say anything until it comes out or unless it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, but
deny, and then push it back on,
and then double down on it. So
double down on it and push it back against your so-called, accusers.
In the case of Carter, I more understand it because you listen to your lawyers, right? You don't
absolutely,
but now the story's out,
right?
And he should definitely be, making more of an effort. But maybe maybe he's felt terrible about this, and maybe now we're a month? How many weeks away?
Yeah.
How many weeks after the incident?
I mean, I think with Carter, you're absolutely right. It was probably, hey, don't say a damn thing about this.
Yeah, you don't say
nothing about it. With Miller, it was right there. It's during the season. There was a game that day, the next day.
No.
To me, that was the bigger drop, the bigger lack of just communication and somebody taking control of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I
fire the coach and fire the AD. If those are the people that made the decision,
Now, let me ask you a question, though. Your opinion, both of you. If Miller had played on Saturday, but there was no TSA pat down bullshit yesterday, and he had made a statement expressing remorse for what had happened and whatever involvement by the time, by lending his car to whoever it was, blah, 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 but just expressed his remorse about the situation, but then went ahead and played. Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely. Right. And here's why, John. Those are two huge, big ifs.
Right.
Because
of course,
I get it.
That's the issue, right? That's the point, right? But I'm just saying. So it's not so much that he played,
and I'm not even blaming the player. I'm not as mad with Miller as I am with his coaches, the administration, and the NCAA, and the school itself.
Right. Until
this latest incident, that's all right. Bad idea, childish exploits, but that tone deafness of it. That would never happen with certain coaches that are no longer coaching in the NCAA.
That's my problem.
Years ago,
nobody thought to say to the entire team, listen, this is a situation here, and we don't talk about it. We don't make jokes about it. We say nothing. You would think someone would have the decency and intelligence to get the team together and go, anybody who does any bullshit is off this fucking team. I don't care who you are.
Well, he's
beforehand. But apparently either A, nobody did, or B, these two kids ignored it.
Right.
Which I tend to think nobody bothered to say that.
Setting him up to
Nate Oates seems like, I don't know, like maybe he's some sort of savant. He can coach basketball, but he doesn't seem to have a brain in his head.
And it's setting him up to just be a great NBA player, because the NCAA is becoming just like the NBA. The coaches have no say over these players anymore.
Yeah,
none. And I don't want to sound like the old guy. All right, back it.
No, but you've got
because you know what? It's the players.
Make a point.
The players.
Players League.
If somebody on Magic Johnson or Larry Bird's team or Michael Jordan's college team did any of that, they would have been taken by the head by the players and put in their place. Let alone the coaches.
Hopefully,
horrible.
Hopefully, whatever needs to come out of this on every level, the right thing happens. The right thing happens with all of it. Then we'll see where it goes. But it's a shame that it's the current state of affairs for both cases that it's at. So
the way in which the communication from the schools, from the players, from the team to the public has been, I've never seen a worse case of
it's bad
being handled.
It's bad. Horrible handling. All right. Let's switch gears. Let's stay in the sport, but switch a level up. Let's talk about the NBA for a second. Specifically,
actually, can I just give not about that, just one other, since we're in the collegiate mode right now.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to mention this.
Sure.
I don't know if you've been following the Antoine Davis story. From Detroit Mercy, which is an NCAA Division I school. And he has a game tomorrow night, and he is 26 points away from eclipsing the NCAA's all-time scoring record.
Yeah.
Held by
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No.
Bill Walton?
Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete, that's right, Maravich.
Pistol Pete Maravich, 3,667 career points. And if I hope he breaks it, because fine, that's great. But I think there was no 3-pointer, and I think Pistol Pete wasn't even allowed to play as a freshman.
Right.
So
there's got to be an asterisk. So
yeah, there might be an asterisk, but good for him. He needs 26 points, and I hope they're playing some team I think they beat already once or twice this year. So I hope he does it. And listen, I guess I'll consider it legitimate, because you can't hold that against him. But
and two guys who should be talked about more.
And look, more. What I love about this kid is more than half of his field goal attempts come from behind the arc.
Nice.
So
so
did
might have been
Pete.
true of Pistol Pete as well.
Counted as two.
It just counted as
two. Might have also been true of Maravich, but they just didn't count as 3 points.
Without a doubt, it was.
Yeah. I look forward to him, getting into the NBA and being a thorn in the side of the Knicks for many years to come. So.
Yeah, there you go. So
I don't. Who knows where he'll go?
against whoever they're playing against.
What's called
Horizon
the Sisters of Mercy?
Oh, Youngstown State, which is the Horizon League Conference tournament.
Detroit Mercy.
The Sisters of Mercy.
And I think if Detroit Mercy loses, they're like out of the conference tournament or something like that. Oh, so, a couple things on the line. Good luck to Antoine Davis.
Is he a 4-year senior?
He's a 4-year player.
Okay.
4 years senior.
Fair enough.
Is that what you
well,
meant?
you know what I mean. Yeah.
Has he 4 year?
Is he a senior? Is he a senior that's played for 4 years?
Yeah, pretty much. He's been averaging 28 and a half.
I don't mean a senior citizen.
He's been in all 32 games this season.
He's been a senior for 4 years.
Shoots 42% from outside. So there we go. Yeah. So good for him. So I just wanted to mention that while we were in the collegiate mode.
There you go.
Good luck, Antoine Davis.
Good luck, Antoine Davis. Good luck. All right.
Now let's talk some NBA.
Now let's talk some NBA. All right. Speaking of right foot or right feet, if you will, are the Lakers done?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did they?
That was quick.
How long? Did they say officially how long he's out for?
Extended time.
No. Okay. I mean, we know that
multiple weeks.
Yes, and then of course you got what's his name now out for? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? The guy with the ugliest eyebrows in the history of all sports, who's always hurt. Power forward who's really a center. Davis.
Oh, Davis. Anthony
Davis. He's out, and the Lakers are done, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Worst eyebrows.
He's such. I mean, that guy. Is there a guy that says there's nobody more easy to dislike other than maybe Draymond Green in the entire NBA? But anyway,
I dislike him, but yeah, I think Dre for me it edges him out a little bit.
My point being is I think the Lakers could have won a couple games, but no, they're done. And look, this is kind of a repeat story, right? End of the year, Lakers kind of not looking gonna sit LeBron, come back at it next year. I don't know. It's a good story. He broke the record, had one good game after that, and then now they're both injured again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. When you
with them out, I mean, the Lakers are, in 12th right now. So,
hey, look, the NBA playoff race is interesting both in the East and the West. We're gonna get by just fine without the Lakers or LeBron in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We'll be fine.
Yeah, but it won't be as interesting.
It will be more interesting because there's other people that are going to get some airtime on nationally televised games that people should know about that they don't know about.
Right, exactly. Which is foreshadowing next week's top 5. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, and then you switch it to the East, and there's one New York team has now eclipsed the other New York team.
I mean, the Knicks are hot. The Knicks are playing good basketball.
Yeah, they're playing tonight, right? Knicks and Nets tonight.
I think if the Knicks, they're playing right now. I think if the Knicks had not picked RJ Barrett with that high of a draft pick and were able to take somebody else, I think the Knicks might be, right below the Bucks and Sixers in the East right now. Mm-hmm. Imagine the Knicks with Donovan Mitchell. Let's just put it that way. Imagine if they didn't fuck that up. If they had Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and Donovan Mitchell. Anyway,
that would be an interesting.
It would be great.
That would be wonderful. That would be really, 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 really good. But hey, we'll see. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Brooklyn's on a 3-game losing streak. We will see after tonight which streak, if either of them, if they both get broken or they both continue, because that's what will happen.
Right. And look, a lot of talk about Jalen Brunson. He's obviously, I think, exceeded a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
In how he's playing. I'm going to give props to Julius Randle. Julius Randle is having a bounce back year and is quietly playing some great basketball. The Knicks are playing good. It's almost like the first year that what's his name was coach. They're playing a little defense.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, back to two seasons ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out. All right. You guys have anything else on NBA tonight?
God, I hope not.
I think Kevin Durant makes his debut for the Suns tonight,
He did
right?
tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight he finally makes his debut for the Suns. So
It's going to be in.
I have an over under for you, real quick. Over under. How many games before he's out again?
Well, what's the over under?
The over under is 5.
You got to give us a 5.5.
I'll go over. Yeah, I mean, you're talking out for an injury or out just for rest.
Well, I was going injury, but let's go with either.
Well, that's too hard to. Yeah, if it's Kawhi, it's under. If it's Durant, it's who knows.
Right.
Look, he's played 24 minutes, has 23 points, 10 of 14. He's being Kevin Durant.
He's Duranting up the court. So.
He's being Kevin Durant.
There you go. Right.
And him and Booker combined have 56 points.
There you go.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Your NBA champion, Phoenix Suns.
Well, they are playing Charlotte. Not so fast with that.
Yeah, I mean
that if Kevin Durant is healthy, I would not bet against the Phoenix Suns.
I wouldn't bet against them either, but they're 10.5 games behind.
Boston or anybody else, but
hey, 10.5 games back for Denver. So,
yeah, well, I don't know.
I mean, that's a lot of ground to make up in how many games?
I mean, there would be nothing to make me more happy than watching the Denver Nuggets beat a fully loaded Phoenix Suns in a playoff series and go on to win an NBA championship.
Get your wish.
And then we will parade into ESPN's First Take studios and shove the fucking championship trophy up Kendrick Perkins' ass.
Kendrick Perkins. Shove it right up.
Speaking of Denver, the Joker there getting his 100th double-double.
100th double-double, but he's just doing it because he's padding his stats. I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah. You mean the fact that two of their three best scorers came back this year and he's shooting less and distributing the ball to Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray? That's called being a great player.
Pretty much.
One might say a valuable player.
Player.
Yeah.
By the way, they're 82 and 18 in those 100 games.
If he continues that,
is it double doubles or triple doubles?
Triple doubles.
Triple doubles. Sorry, not double doubles. 100 triple doubles. Listen, there's what we know. MVP is a regular season award,
right?
And he's back to back, right?
He is. He would be the first person since Larry Bird.
3 years in a row. When's the last person to win it 3 years in a row?
Larry Bird.
And it's Larry and who? Kareem, maybe
no,
Magic.
Kareem hasn't won it 3 times. Michael won it 3. No, I guess not.
No, I don't think
Michael didn't win it 3 times.
I think it was maybe only Bird and Russell. I think Bill Russell.
Okay, let's look that up.
Bill Russell won it 3 years in a row. Bill Russell won it many times, or more than 3 or. Yeah, more than 2 times. Anyway.
Right. Look,
were they in a row though?
I think there's a case for 4 or 5 people for the MVP, and quite honestly, it's so hard to kind of. But if you have a center, and he averages a triple double, then and he's third in the league in assists and fourth in rebounds, and in the top 20 in scoring. You have to go. Okay, that's something unique. Now, I think Giannis deserves it. I think Jason Tatum deserves it. Hell, I even think LeBron, before this latest round of injuries, deserved it. There's a lot of people that you could put on that list.
What do you got?
And Embiid.
Bill Russell, 1960 to 63. Larry Bird, 83 to 86, and Wilt the Stilt, 65 to 68.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, but.
That's good company for Joker to be in.
Yeah, that's good. And he'll win it, though, I mean, the only guy I think that can challenge him is Giannis.
Embiid. I think Embiid. I think there's a big push for Embiid. I think that there's a very vocal group of, I'm going to call them personalities that are on television, on radio, and on whatever YouTube social media caravan that
influencers.
There you go. That don't believe that Jokic deserves it and are pushing for Embiid. I would argue you're right. I think Embiid deserves it. I think Giannis deserves it. I think they're all great. At the end of the day, I'd rather him not win it and win a championship.
If it was one of the two,
I think that people are influenced, even though it's a regular season award, they're influenced by postseason success or lack thereof. And right now, that's the thing that holds Joker back.
But he went to the Western. He went to the Western Conference Finals with.
Okay, but they didn't win. He got all these great numbers.
What does Embiid done?
Yeah, I was going to say when did Embiid win it?
Okay, well, no, Embiid hasn't won either, but Giannis has won.
Yes, and so, look, I think Giannis.
I'm just saying, fairly or not, I think it's unfair. I think if it's a regular season award, you look at the regular season, and that should be it. But I think it influences people historically. I think they look back at it. Even if they don't vote that way that year, they look back at it years later and they go, "Yeah, but they didn't get anywhere in the playoffs. So how valuable could he really be?" You know?
Yeah. Well,
now, I think in the case of Denver, where the hell would they be without him?
Yeah.
You know, they'd still be in the playoffs, but might be in the bottom four. Might be in the playoff.
There has not been a single player. There's not been a single player who has carried a team.
I agree.
With as little talent as this Denver team. Granted, they're playing good team ball. I'm not dismissing them as, but the last person that comes to mind is Hakeem Olajuwon. The first time they beat the Knicks in the NBA Finals, that was the last time I saw somebody just carry a team of less than great supporting players.
Well, I would say LeBron getting into the finals against Boston.
No, he had Kyrie and he had Kevin Love, who was a scoring champion. He had
not when they won, but when they didn't before that.
Oh well, okay.
You know, as far as
I'm saying winners.
Yeah.
So my point being is that there's very few players that are in this type of situation who actually do win a championship.
Right.
Yes.
No, you're right.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, there you go. We'll see how that all pans out. We any other NBA? I think we're on to the next.
Nope. I think that's it.
Kyrie and Luka 1-4. Games played together.
Yeah.
We'll see how that
pans out.
Materializes.
Exactly.
Got to play defense, boys. You got to play defense.
That's
can't score 150 every night.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're going to try. They're going to try.
Give it up 160.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's it. Well, they can score 150 every night. They're just going to lose 160.
Right. They lose. Not if it's 151.
Yeah. So,
I do want to say one thing. I mean, real quickly, we had that what was it, double overtime, second highest scoring game in the history of the NBA between the Clippers and doesn't matter, and then Damian Lillard scoring 70, 2 days later. There is a point, I think, with basketball where maybe the NBA needs to look at some simple rules that will allow defense to have a little bit more of a role in this. Well,
they're not gonna, because you can put different sports in the same category, right? Baseball, like football, they want it aired out. They don't want to grind out 7-3 game anymore. They want a 40 to 35 game. They juice the baseball so there's more home runs, so there's more scoring. It's all about the scoring. They don't give a shit about defense. They want the points put on the board. They want the baskets and baskets and baskets and baskets. And that's what's selling. That's what's making the people continue to watch it. No. Don't make no mistake. I agree with you. I'm just saying that's where the mindset is on all of these things. They all fit in the same mold. They're thinking that the younger kids, the Gen Z kids, are they want to see scoring. They want to see baskets. They don't want to see steals. They don't want to see defense. They want to see.
I think we could find a balance, and I think if you showed them that type of basketball, they would understand that it's a hell of a lot more competitive, and it allows for a lot of a bigger diversity of players that have a bigger role on their teams. Mm-hmm. But
you're right. I mean, it's
scoring is way up this year.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's stupid. Yeah,
it's way up.
Yeah. So well, we should maybe we should write an article and send it out to the ethers and see what comes back, see what people think about that. We'll put up something on our Facebook page, put a poll up and see what people think.
There you go.
So there you go. All right.
With the three people that we that follow our polls that are average age of 72, I think they'll agree with us.
I think you're right. So, anyway, all right. Let's switch it up to a little quick football talk, shall we? Somebody has come out of the dark, as they say.
Ouch. Saw a shadow, and there's 6 more months of man bun.
Well, the thing is, the rest of us are all just as much in the dark as we were before.
Right.
It's good for him, but it has done nothing.
What I love about Aaron Rodgers is he comes out of the dark and then he pretends like, for all the people who are sick of the drama, well, just don't pay attention to it. Well, okay. Look, dude, you just spent 4 days in a cave. You come out, you look like the Unabomber. You go on a podcast that nobody's heard of about some guy who's like, selling kombucha enemas, and you're telling us that you're gonna make a decision soon. Who's drumming up the drama? I mean,
there's a quote. All the answers are right inside me, and I touched many of them, and definitely the feelings on both sides during the darkness.
Yeah, look, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. I'm not sure there's a bigger weirdo in the history of sports stars than Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I find it kind of entertaining, but it's almost like a Saturday Night Live character to some degree. Look, here's my take.
There was more of that statement too. It said, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me."
Yeah, that's great. Look, I think Aaron Rodgers. I think what happened in the darkness is Green Bay said, "Enough. If we can get what we want for you," because look, he's under contract, so it's not like he's a free agent.
Either retires or stays or gets traded. It's one of those.
And I think there's two options. I think that he's not going to stay because I don't think Green Bay wants him. I think Green Bay is going to try to trade him and get a quarterback and some draft picks or whatever, or even just a bunch of draft picks for him.
I think draft picks. I think they want to see what Julian Love has.
Yeah, and
or Jordan Love. Julian Love's a
yeah.
Jordan Love. Yeah, it's one of them.
And
J-Lo. They want to get rid of A-Rod and they want to keep J-Lo.
The question is, where will Rodgers play next year?
Will Rodgers?
Yeah, and then the second question is there any place that he kind of fits in where he could be successful in 2 years?
Jets is really all that I can.
Can he? Why? They have a great defense, but what do they have? What is better?
Is there anywhere that's a guarantee? Are you asking me?
No, nothing's a guarantee.
Right.
But
a guarantee? No, nowhere.
I don't see Rodgers as being like Brady, where Brady can go into Tampa Bay, have a couple guys around him, that he knows he can do something with and win a championship. I don't know where that team is. I think Miami, maybe. I think that's a better opportunity for him than the Jets. I think the Jets would be weird because it's just replaying the Brett Favre story all over again. I would love to see him go to the Jets. I think it'd be great for Jets fans. I think it'd be great for New York City. I'd much rather see him go across the locker room to the other team that plays in the swamp. But that's not going to happen because they're dedicated to a psychopath who wants $45 million a year. But I don't know where else.
More on that later.
Where else does he go? The Raiders?
Raiders.
Pete, you're the big Jets fan. What do you? If you had to bet right now, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets come September? Who do you think it's going to be?
I'll give you my pick after Pete says.
If I was going to bet, I would say Derek Carr.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Just because it doesn't cost you, you don't have to trade. You don't have to trade for him.
Right.
Douglas isn't dumb. He's only going to have a year, maybe two, with Rodgers, and there's no guarantees. Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers, but he's much better than anything they've had anytime recently.
Derek Carr is a great stopgap.
Yeah.
Well, not a great stopgap. He's
a diversion.
Listen. He'll
that can win them games, and if their defense is improves even more, which they have one of the best defenses in the league last year. So if their defense improves even more, and they got a full year of Breece Hall and the other guys, the receivers,
the good Wilson,
and right. and Elijah Moore, and
the Jets have a lot of talent. I just don't think they have it. I just don't think they have the talent where somebody like an Aaron Rodgers comes in and takes advantage of it.
They're going to need more. I mean, they're going to get Elijah Vera Tucker back, and they're going to need more on the offensive line, right? And they're going to be able to do that a hell of a lot easier by signing Derek Carr than they will trading everything on the farm away for Aaron Rodgers.
All right, I agree. We all agree.
And is Aaron Rodgers? I don't think he hasn't fallen off a cliff or anything. He's still a pretty bad man when it comes to being on the football
Absolutely.
field. But is he as much a difference maker as he was a couple of years ago? No.
He's fallen off a little bit. A little bit.
Don't give up the farm. Now, what's Carr going to want? I don't know. Give it to him. Give him 4 years, 3 years, whatever.
He'll want 4. He'll command 4.
I mean, here's the thing. Everything, the dominoes are all standing, right? And Aaron Rodgers is at the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And until he falls, right, nothing else is really going to move.
And we're all waiting.
Because, everybody's going to want to know, well, what are my options?
We're all waiting.
And that all stems from, is Green Bay an option for me?
Right.
Or, so the world is waiting on Aaron Rodgers, and that's probably right where he wants to be. So,
okay, here's a question for each of you. If you had to bet, not playing next year, playing for the Packers, or playing for another team, and what is that team? If he plays for another team, if that's who you think it's going to be, who is it?
My bet?
Yeah.
Packers.
Okay.
Stays where he is. And then, because I'm going to tell you, and we joked about this a few weeks ago, he's not going to want to retire this year because he, with the way he is going to want the spotlight when he goes into Canton. And of course, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. We all know that, right?
Yeah. He's
not going to want to share the spotlight with Tom Brady. Not at all. He's not going to want to do it. So if he retires this year, he's going to have to. So he's not retiring. He stays in Green Bay another year, and then he retires. And brings up, they can mold who they want. They can see who's out there, maybe draft another quarterback this year to work with Jordan Love, or he works with Jordan, whatever. They plan their future this year, and he retires next year. That's my guess. He stays in Green Bay for another year, then retires. That's where I'm at.
I tend to think he's going to be in Green Bay because, I mean, he's got $60 million guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think if a trade happens, Green Bay is going to have to eat some of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But whoever's getting him in the trade is also going to have to pay a lot of it too.
Pay all of that and get rid of and who is
going to want to
give
away
that? For a year? He's not a long time quarterback. He's not staying somewhere for 4 or 5 years. It's a year.
Well, he might want. He might want 2 or 3 though. Here's the thing about Green Bay, though. I think he'll stay there because Green Bay so far, that is to say, until they reach the point where they go, we're done. Mm-hmm. Enough of your bullshit. You're great. All that. Thanks. Now, that might be at the end of next year.
Mm-hmm. Sounded like there was hints of it recently.
But it might be. Well, that's it. Get a good enough deal, and that'll happen, right? And I think that today the coach said Jordan Love, the next step for Jordan Love is to be a starting NFL quarterback.
That's my point.
So, and they let Favre go, when it was time. But so far they've put up with Aaron Rodgers' bullshit.
Absolutely.
And maybe nobody else will. So maybe he wants to just stay there and say, well, so far I've been able to do whatever the fuck I want. And they've just sat there and taken it. So I might as well ride that train.
Right.
And they owe me $60 million, or they're going to cut me and then they're going to pay me $60 million for doing nothing. And we know that's not going to happen. So I think he stays in Green Bay.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Here's 2 places that I would like to see him go. The Miami Dolphins or the San Francisco 49ers.
He's not.
I think those are 2 teams that he could go to right now and potentially win a Super Bowl.
Well, it would only be one of them because Green Bay has come out emphatically said that if they do trade him, it will not be an NFC.
I said what I would like to see.
What you would like to see. Oh yeah. Oh, if he goes to San Francisco, they're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Now here's the other quarterback question.
They almost went to the Super Bowl this year with Brock Purdy. If he goes to the 49ers, they're going to the Super Bowl.
So there's so many chips in all of this, and the other guy who's so associated with the team, the big question is, will I stay? Should I stay or should I go? Lamar Jackson. What do you guys think about Lamar Jackson? Where will he be playing next year, if he plays at all?
He's going to play, and I'll tell you where. You're not going to like my response isn't sexy.
Tennessee.
He's going to be playing in Baltimore.
Okay. So you think these guys stick around?
Mm-hmm.
Pete?
Yeah. He's going to get what he wants. They'll keep him. Where are they going? Where are they going? And the reason I say that, where's John Harbaugh going? What's John Harbaugh doing? There's going to be a rebuild. He's either going to walk or they're going to make him walk if there's not a quick rebuild. Who's coming in there to pick up the slack of Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson is a little different. All right, so you don't have to trade him. Just have to sign him.
No, that's my point. So
right.
they're gonna sign him, whether they tag him this year and work something out afterwards. Whatever they're gonna do, he's staying in Baltimore. That's
I think that there's again 3 places where I think, and I look if Aaron Rodgers does stay in Green Bay, I still think the team that is willing to put the money on the table for a quarterback are the Dolphins. They've got too much firepower on that offensive end. Can you imagine Lamar Jackson with those receivers?
I think Lamar. Well,
I think Lamar Jackson needs to go to a team that is going to commit to Lamar Jackson and get him some pieces. Now, of course, what I would love to see, take Danny Dimes, 1 or 2 first-round draft picks, send them to Baltimore, and then give Lamar Jackson whatever the fuck he wants as a guaranteed contract.
But he just has to sign. I mean, unless they're going to tag him,
right?
If he's not tagged and he's a free agent,
right?
Giants have to do dick. They can just sign him.
But I think that's an easier way as a sign-in trade.
We can be cynical and say, well, Lamar Jackson's going to go wherever the money is, but
it's got to be the right fit.
No, it doesn't. It never has to be the right fit. But I will say this. I think if there's more than one place, and there might well be, he's going to want Deshaun Watson money, right? He's a more proven commodity than Deshaun Watson.
Well worth it. Absolutely.
Right. So there should be a couple teams that are going to pony up for that. And Miami might be one of them.
I think you're right. I think Miami.
So
that would
may have choices.
Things up.
Now, Baltimore might also be one of those places that's going to pony up that money. But I think less so than somewhere else. I think they might go, I think we've gotten the best out of Lamar Jackson that any team is going to get, right? We've had him for the first 5 years of his career, and he's gotten some injuries lately, and he's that kind of quarterback who gets hurt. So we're going to move on. So, but
that's the way to look at it too.
Yeah, please, I'd love to see him on the Jets, but God, not Miami. Anywhere but Miami.
Well, let me ask you this:
Miami, then let Zach Wilson be the quarterback because we're not winning anything anyway.
Really. Don't spend the money.
Yeah, Mac Jones and Zach Wilson compared to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, please.
Kind of along the same lines, but not obviously talking about Lamar Jackson, but on the Miami thing. Does Tua ever play football again?
I don't know. It sounds like maybe not.
Look, did you hear McDaniel today? Talking about a congruence of interests, and they asked him, is Tua the starting quarterback, or is he going to play again? And he just did not. It was one of the great streams of bullshit.
That guy is I don't know what he ever says.
That is like the kid in high school who never does his work. Right. But he's got the gift, right? And and the teacher can ask him questions, and he can spin a line of bullshit that sounds like he's saying something, but he actually says nothing. All he said basically, the only thing he said that was real was, Tua wants to play for a long time, and we want him to play for a long time. Nothing about whether he's going to, or is his career in jeopardy because of the health and stuff. It was not a ringing endorsement, but it was a great piece of audio.
He just cleared concussion protocol like a week ago.
I know.
Yeah.
From when? From October.
Yeah. I can't.
I think Miami will
having a long career because I can't see him not getting hurt again. I hate to say that.
He's always been that way. I mean, he played 9 years in college.
What was it? His hip in college, or his knee, or whatever?
It was his hip.
Everything.
It was his
hip.
Now
it's his head.
It's held together with rubber bands.
But you can't, you can't do head replacement, skull replacement like you can knee replacement or hip.
Miami's looking for a quarterback. If they get the right one, Tua will be gone. If they don't, and Tua can pass protocols and they can protect him, Tua will be playing. That's my take on Miami. I could be wrong. That's my take on Miami.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think there's a lot of interesting pieces
There are.
to the quarterback puzzle.
There is. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting, at least an interesting couple of weeks right now until the day one of the new season, which is March 15th. So, things will franchise tags will go on. Some won't. People will become free agents. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. And here's the best part: we have a show on March 15th.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating the bad decisions the New York Giants made.
So we'll be talking about them that day. So interesting. All right. We'll switch gears out of football. Nothing else in the NFL. Guys wanted to talk about it?
No, not I.
Pete?
Nope.
You got it? Nope. All right. Switching gears to little ball of base.
Little League baseball?
Little League, yeah. Baseball. It's more like race ball, actually, if you read my thing there. We'll talk about that in a second. But before we do, Harry, you had brought up, you want to talk about Machado and the Padres. Are they going to pay Soto after giving Machado, that contract?
I don't know. Look, there's Manny Machado, I think, for people like us who've followed his whole career, it's almost like he's a different guy now.
Yeah.
He's become this kind of reliable, consistent all-star. Maybe not the top 5 in baseball, but he's getting paid like it now. That's for sure. San Diego's serious. San Diego's got one of the best lineups, maybe not pitching wise yet, but one of the best lineups in baseball. You could argue right there with the Dodgers. If they're going to be serious, then maybe they decided, hey, Machado served us pretty well. Let's get him in here, and then we'll play our cards where they fall with Soto. I think this bodes well, though, for Soto saying, you know what, I'm going to stay too, and I'm going to work with you, because there's something going on right in San Diego. Because not only are they able to get players there, they're able to hold on to them, and they're able to get them to switch positions and move around. Something's going on right, and they're setting the table to have a very, very interesting year.
I'll tell you what's going on right in San Diego. The cash register is open. They've got 5 players on that team.
I know,
whose salaries equal $1 billion. They've got 5 guys over the $200 million mark. And I mean, those
5 guys are pretty good, though.
They're right. You're right. They have spent.
That's
money
the difference.
On
is there's other teams who have close to that, but 4 of those 5 guys suck.
Right. But here's the thing:
Giancarlo Stanton.
When Tatis got kicked out last year, right? Who carried the Padres? It was Manny Machado.
Absolutely.
I think he was my pick for MVP or.
I'll tell you
not MVP, but something along those lines. So they are spending money. They are spending it wisely, and they are spending it
wisely. That's fluently.
A great point. So I think, and I listen. If Juan Soto is smart, he will want to be a part of that. You're right. Everybody can always use help pitching. They've got to deal with that situation. But they are going for it, and they are going for it.
I think you hit the nail on the head too. Like, they had to sign Machado. One, obviously there was the chatter and the talk about, if they don't sign him, he's gonna want to go play with Buck again. And of course, Steve Cohen will open up the checkbook for him. And I think that might have been just a little bit of fodder from Machado's camp to get them to sign him, right? But they had to, if they wanted to keep that together, right? They wanted to keep him there. They wanted to keep Soto there after that and everything else, like Harry, like you said. So I think they realized that they had to do it, and hey, I mean they're spending the bucks, they're spending the money. They're certainly not one of the teams that are pissed off that there's a Steve Cohen rule. So they're coming up on it themselves.
here's what I my takeaway was. Obviously, the open checkbook is a big thing, but there's something else going on there. Number one, San Diego is a great place to live. It's a great city. It maybe has the best weather in the country. Number three, it is, yes, it's in California, but they fall way under the radar of the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Angels. You don't have to worry about that Boston, New York, Dodgers, sort of constant criticism. And it seems like they kind of get along. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems like they almost like each other. And, it's like we see this in other sports where they try to build these teams of superstars. It doesn't always work. It seems like, at least for now, you're getting guys to change positions. You're getting guys to agree to certain conditions. And it's happening sort of under the radar without 2 years worth of negotiations back and forth. And somebody deciding to say, screw it, I'm going to sit out.
Right.
Yeah. What was the old line? I want to say it was maybe about the Yankees, or one of the great Yankee teams of the 50s or whatever, was 22 players, 22 cabs, or something like that. After the game, nobody liked each other, but it didn't matter because they were so good. Yeah, you're right. There's something in San Diego, and look, they've got a great fan base, right? They're hungry for history. And,
absolutely, they're the only sports team left in that town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they've never won the series, right?
No.
Yeah, so they're ready for it, and you're right. It is a great. You guys remember the old? I think it was maybe a hotel commercial with Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's in San Diego, and the people in the next balcony are like, "Take a walk, Peyton." He's like, "It's beautiful out. I might just do that." Totally oblivious to the fact that they hate him because whatever, he beat him in the championship game or whatever it was. But San Diego, been there a couple times. Great place. And you're right. Beautiful weather.
And look, a lot of these players in their past have been deemed problem players, attitudes, difficult to deal with. Treat it, whatever they're doing, let's see if it can translate to the baseball field. But it seems like pretty smooth sailing out there in San Diego. They need some pitchers. But I don't know. That's going to be, I don't want to pitch against that lineup. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Where's the holes? You know what I mean? Who do you pitch around amongst those guys?
Right. I'll tell you what. We had high hopes for them last year. I think there's obviously some pretty major injuries there.
Yeah,
I think this has to be the year, and that with a lot of this comes expectations. If Soto and Machado live up to what they're at, and Tatis can be a half of what he was prior to his injuries, look out! Here come the Padres.
Yeah, and there's not even a pitcher in the lineup.
No.
Well, you know what I mean? You don't even get that automatic.
Not anymore. Out. You don't have to worry about you, Darvish, trying to bunt in the third inning.
And then hurting his ankle running down to first base.
There you go.
Listen, I'm happy. I like the Padres. I think I picked them to win something. Either the West or maybe whatever.
You picked them to win the NFC.
You picked them to win the NFC Central.
I picked the Padres to win the NFC South. That sounds about right. They could have actually.
I think they have a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup. To be honest.
Yeah, well, not against the Bruins.
Anyway, all right. I think we're good. You guys have anything else?
You want to do a little for real?
Yeah.
Why not? Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So, sorry, sprung that on you. We got to get Bobby, the board op, to be ready to fire up the.
Are they for real?
Are they for real?
I thought we were receiving it. We'll do it anyway. So it's right here.
Yeah, no, we got good ones right now.
What is real? What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real? For real? For real?
Are they for real?
They're real and they're spectacular.
I got to put that in there. All right, we're going to start off in hockey, and we're going to talk about the New York Rangers. Now in third place.
And making some
points.
Making some good moves. They've added some players.
Picking up Patrick Kane.
Yep.
That is huge for them.
Yep. And that drops Vesey to the fourth line, which makes the fourth line even better. So
didn't Patrick Didn't Patrick Kane win like 3 Stanley Cups in like the late 80s?
Yeah,
late 70s.
Yeah.
Didn't he have an epic fight with Clark Gillies once?
He's a league MVP in 1974. So.
Right, exactly. But no, it makes the lines better. So
listen, the Rangers have pretty good history of bringing in guys like, Messier was not at the end of his career. Right?
Messier was 1 year younger than Patrick Kane is right now. One year younger.
He'd been in the league for a while, and they brought him in, and they won a cup, and they brought Gretzky in, which is at the tail end of his career. And
Gretzky was different. Messier was actually asked to be a big part of the Rangers, first line when he was there, and he did it. Gretzky was it was sort of like Michael Jordan on the Wizards. It was nice, but it was too late.
Yeah.
Kane has the luxury, I think, of fitting in on a team now where they've got a lot of variables and a lot of options going on here. I think what's carrying the Rangers is the fact that they're playing really good defense, and if they can keep that up, then look, the Bruins are going to be tough to beat. But as we know, the team who usually has the best record in hockey doesn't usually win.
Doesn't usually get there, exactly.
So, not to take anything away from what they're doing right now, because the
Bruins are killing. Oh, they're super hot.
But the Rangers are doing what the Rangers have done typically in years where they have a good postseason. Is that they typically don't start very well, and then kind of bring it on towards the end of the season. If they're playing like this going into the playoffs, they're going to be a tough matchup for most teams.
Well, let me throw these numbers at you real quick. In the Eastern Conference, including both the Metro and Atlantic divisions, goals against, the best is Boston at 129. Second is Carolina, 151.
Mm-hmm.
Then New Jersey, 157. Toronto, 158. And then the Rangers at 168. So,
I think if you were to take that for the last, like, let's say 25 games, then it would be interesting to see whether, because based on what
that's overall, right?
Right. I mean, I think that the Rangers have improved in that area dramatically. So to be sixth is great, and look, they're playing good hockey. They're for real.
Yeah.
They're
all right. They're for real. I agree. I think they were slightly on the border before, but now you throw Kane in there, they're definitely
they're totally for real. Yeah. And it changes a lot of stuff up. Like I said, it drops Vesey to the fourth line, makes the fourth line even better. They're for real.
I think
watch them make up ground. They're not nobody's overtaken Boston. Boston's number one, but watch them make up ground. And don't be shocked. And again, the Devils are playing good hockey too. Still, obviously, don't be surprised if by the end of the season, the Rangers are sit above the Devils.
I think Boston, Carolina, and the Devils are tough matchups for the Rangers. I agree with you. I think the Rangers would probably, maybe be favored against the Devils, depending on who's got the home ice, even if that doesn't really matter much anymore. Boston and Carolina, though, that'll be interesting. I would look forward to one of those two series if the Rangers can get there.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch to a little college basketball here. The University of Kentucky has won 4 in a row, beating Mississippi State, Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn of late, rolling over Auburn by 32. And they have moved up in the polls now. I forget where they are. It doesn't matter. They are now number 23 and 20-10. Playing some good ball. Are they for real? Or did they just put together a nice little winning streak?
I'm going to go with the latter, but borderline for real. Kind of like we were with the Rangers a couple weeks ago, or at least you were. I was for real, yeah, I think it's probably leans a little bit more towards the nice little winning streak, but they keep it up, then they're for real. I mean, I know that's the easy way out to say that they're for real, but I think right now it's not a whole. They need a little bit more to be for real.
Yeah,
it really nice winning
streak. Them up in the polls. Yeah. That nice little winning streak. So I don't know if they are. I think they won some good games. I don't know what happened against UAB. They put it together, but
They're playing.
I'm going to say no. And I love Kentucky. It's a nice little streak, but no, I don't think they're for real.
And they lost to Vanderbilt tonight. So
Well, they did.
So it was close, but they lost. Vanderbilt's an unranked team. I don't think Kentucky's for real. I think I think they're going to have to win a few games and make sure that they don't completely bomb in the.
I was going to say, will they stay in the top 25?
I don't know. I think they're probably
23 before the loss tonight.
After losing to a 16-13 Vanderbilt team who's unranked, probably not. They could bounce back into it. I think they have to have a good showing in the play-in tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. I really do.
All right. Next up is
they got 10 losses. 10 losses.
Yeah,
when was the last time? When was the last time that?
Next up is number 6, and this is the latest poll as of the 27th. So we're going to get a new one in a couple more days. Marquette up 4 slots, 24-6, and they have won 7 out of 8 in the month of February, including a nice 5-game winning streak against Xavier and Creighton and DePaul and Butler, which I guess you could say, which they won quite handily. I mean, they're number 6, so it seems kind of a silly question. Are they for real?
Yeah, they're for real. Yeah, they're for real. I mean, for what it is at that point on that level, they're for real.
Yeah, I mean, they were number 10 heading into this, but in the previous week's poll. So
they're making up their grounds. They're for real. They're playing good ball.
I think they are too.
They're for real, without a doubt. They have not beaten a lot of ranked teams, but they've beaten a lot of good teams that they should beat. They're also, I think, 14 or 15-1 at home, which, I think they play in a conference that has traditionally been good, but I think is a little soft this year. So I think they're a little higher than what their record puts them where they're at. Are they the 5th or 6th best team in college basketball? No, but they're for real. They're gonna be a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament. So, yep.
All right, there we go.
All right.
That's it. That's just 3.
All righty.
How do we
that's
it? Yeah, no, we don't have a good ending for that.
See you later.
Oh, it just fades out. It's done. It's all good. Anyway, all right. On that note, all right. I think we're good, right?
Yeah,
we are good. Are we for real? We are for real.
We are for real. We are for real.
How real? Not that real, but
no, we're for real.
We're semi-biannually for real.
Once in a while, yeah. Once.
We're not top 25 by any stretch of the imagination.
Bottom 25.
Yeah,
I'd put us. I think the over/under on us is 26.5.
Sounds like a plan.
26.5.
I'm going over.
False statements per episode. What is that?
What's over under though? Is over worse and under is better? Or?
I think over is worse, right? You're lower ranked. You're over.
I'm going over.
We're actually 72, so we're way over.
Way over the over under, right?
Yeah, we're not quite up there with Marie Kondo today.
No, not at all. And of course, what would be a show without mentioning Marie Kondo and putting this up? There we go.
I heard Marie Kondo had a child, and now she's given up on organizing anything.
Yeah, she gave up on all that stuff. I think she had like twins or something, right? Or
I heard she's just living a complete mess.
Yeah, she's like
Legos.
Pick up your child and say, "Does this bring me joy?"
Legos and Cheetos everywhere. Yeah. She tried putting her child in a nice linen tote in the bookcase, but it wouldn't stay.
Kept rolling out.
That's right.
Right, exactly. So, anyway, all right. On that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Locker Room channel. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
I'll say one thing about Manny Machado, right? He was the first guy, and I think the first pitch thrown to him in spring training, and it was called strike because he didn't get in the box, right, in time as per the new baseball rules. And he said, the players are going to be up in arms. The commissioner's going to have to change these rules. So far, the players seem to like the rules, so they don't seem to have Manny's back. So, talented guy, better reputation as a player, but still kind of a dick.
Boomer Esiason said on a show, Boomer and Gio yesterday, I believe it was, that he's big time in favor of this. Gets games done 2.5 hours, like 20. They're averaging 20 to 25 minutes less. So instead of averaging 3 hours, they're averaging like 230, 235, 238. Yeah. So
far, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are complaining. Or at least a lot of the players. So,
do you know what the average time was when Camden Yards opened up?
First game there, 2:03.
2:03. Tommy John with these rules would pitch a 65-minute game.
Listen, Steve Traxel might come in under 2.5 hours.
That's right. That's right.
Guys in the field hated him.
Doug the Bird Fittich would come in under 3 hours, even with all of his talking to the ball and
All right. See you next week, folks.
Bye. I don't care about baseball yet.
You mean race ball?
I don't care.
Or clock ball.
I don't want to hear about it.
We'll call you in July.
Thank you.